If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. So y'all remember the SCOTTS, that joint Travis Scott and Kid Cudi album that they announced and teased back in 2020. We got the single, the SCOTTS, which was definitely a very big hit because it got over 600 million streams on Spotify by the date of recording this, and that is a big dub, especially for Kid Cudi, who's kind of, been elevated yet again with that Travis Scott feature. But that thing is seemingly canceled. At least Kid Cudi said that. Today we're going to break that down, so let's jump straight into this. Famous Leak and Theory Twitter account On Thin Ice retweeted or posted a picture of a reply that Kid Cudi gave to a tweet asking about this. So it looked like this. The person asked, "Is the SCOTTS album still on the cards?" And Kid Cudi replied to this, "Nah, I'm not doing that. The moment has passed." Now, I couldn't find the original tweet. I actually wanted to find the tweet from Kid Cudi itself to see the comments. I couldn't find it. He's been doing this Ask Kid Cudi thing over the past couple of days, and there's so many questions there. But from what I can tell, this person just asked if it's still happening. He said he's not doing it, so it's not going to happen. Here he basically confirms it's not going to happen. Also, he says the moment has passed. Maybe they were at one point in the mode of recording an album. That's the same time that also the SCOTTS single, released, and they were like, okay, let's do a whole album, but they never really further worked on it, or something happened behind the scenes. And that's exactly what one of the people commented on the post from On Thin Ice. This guy named Blake replied to this and said, "Wonder if something happened behind the scenes between Cudi and Travis after the Ye fiasco. Obviously, it's been a while since the SCOTTS was teased, but I feel like those two were so sure about releasing it earlier on." And that is very true. The two of them were really sure that they were going to release this, so it seemed like we were still going to get this. And the whole time, like in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, we're still going to get the SCOTTS. It's coming at some point. They teased it. They put out this really big single that did really well, so it would be only a matter of time. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem so. Now, as to address the question as to whether something happened behind the scenes, he said that after the Ye fiasco, maybe, something happened that Cudi wasn't, as much of a friend of Kanye anymore. We've went over that in other videos. Maybe Travis was still more so. But then another person kind of disproves this, Ask Cudi, damn, if not an album, are we still going to get collabs with you and Travis? And Cudi said, definitely. So it doesn't seem like the two of them have fallen out completely. It's just the case that the album is not happening anymore. So it has something to do with the fact that they're not doing an album, not that they are, personally not friends or collaborators or whatever anymore. And I gotta say, my first thought was like, why? Because this would have been a dub for both of them. More so for Cudi though, because if you think about it, Travis Scott has credited Kid Cudi as one of his biggest inspirations, as a person that saved his life, as Cudi has done for so many of us of this younger generation growing up with his music in the early 2010s, Man on the Moon, stuff like that. For Travis Scott, that was a huge thing. He would be able to collaborate with his favorite artist that means so much to him, that, inspired him so much, and that he's credited so many times publicly. So for him to even do that single with him was a big dub for him, because he could kind of make that childhood dream come true of his to collaborate with Cudi, but also to do a whole album like that would have been just phenomenal for him. On the other side, we have Cudi that is kind of, he's not really struggling. We see that he can still do chart-topping bangers right now, as we had seen with the SCOTTS, even though that was kind of carried by Travis. He recently released an album, Intergalactic, that didn't do so well. It only sold like a couple of 20,000 first week. Let me know if I'm wrong, though. I might be completely off of that, but it didn't sell too well. Not a lot of people were talking about that album, not as much as we're talking about Man on the Moon 3 that dropped about 2 years ago, which is still a phenomenal record. That actually sold pretty well, and that was commercially and just kind of like in the culture accepted or like praised a little more than Intergalactic is now. So Cudi's been kind of on the search to grip onto some new commercial success, and this new Travis Scott album would have been that would have been like a big breaker for him, because a lot of people tuning in for Travis. A lot of people, we see that, for example, also on the Drake and 21 Savage Her Loss album, where a lot of people tune in for Drake, but in return, 21 Savage got all the streams and 21 Savage, can get the recognition, can get the platform, stuff like that. Travis could have done the same for Cudi. And it's kind of like a, cute like reversal of roles. Travis being inspired by Cudi, but now Cudi using Travis' platform to get his music out there. And so for both of them, it would have been dubs, and even more so for Cudi. And that's why I'm so surprised that he's saying the moment has passed. It seems like they're just saying like, oh, it's just not the right time right now. But if they really wanted to, they could lock in and do that. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, obviously, but it seems to me that a lot of the stuff is just like, oh, well, we did that, then we never really, followed up on it. It never really happened like that, and now they're just not doing it. And I just don't see the point behind it. If they really wanted to, I think they could get it done. But he did confirm, as I said, that there are going to be more collaborations with the two of them in the future. I don't know if that means that maybe we are still going to get an album, because sometimes artists say stuff and then do, exactly the opposite of it. So maybe that is going to happen. Maybe we'll also just get a couple of singles, or get a Cudi feature on a Travis project, or get a Travis feature on a Cudi project. I definitely see something like that happening. But as of right now, the SCOTTS is canceled. And let me just say one last thing. I don't like when artists do this, when they promise us these big albums and then they just never come through with it. Like, I get that was a great move back in 2020. You could generate a lot of hype. I think that was also part of the reason that single performed so well, because people were like, oh, we like this duo. We like this duo. We can see more of this music coming through. But let's be real, the SCOTTS wasn't that great of a song. The SCOTTS was really not that great of a song. It mainly got that big because of the names attached to it, because of Travis Scott collaborating with Kid Cudi. And we had a lot of the maybe a little bit older generation were coming in with Kid Cudi that also respect Travis. And we had like the 13, 14, 15-year-olds that are just like Travis stans, but that can also like respect Cudi because Travis is praising him so much. So that combination was actually pretty cool, bringing in like that, not the old generation of hip hop, but like the ones that are like in their early 20s, mid 20s, maybe late 20s, and the kids that are like coming in through Travis Scott. And that would have been a great move for both of them. And that's why the song performed so well. And then they announced it and they just never followed through with it. Then why announce it in the first place? It seems to me like they never really had a real plan. They never really sat down and were like, let's do this. We're going to get these people on here, get these producers. We're going to do a track list that is this many tracks, whatever. They never planned it out. And then somehow they just kind of got lost with it. They put out the song. They were like, okay, we're going to, work on it later. Then they never did, and that's the reason why Cudi is saying that it's not going to do it now. And I just don't see that as like a valid, real reason, because if you just don't work on it, then obviously it's not going to happen. That excuse of the moment has passed is more like if you wanted to, you would. But obviously, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe there are some fallouts behind the scenes or some logistical issues that, I just can't gauge and nobody from the outside can gauge. And if that's the case, and I don't want to make any assumptions, I'm just saying that was the first thought, the first feeling that I had when I saw this tweet. It's really sad that it's not going to happen. I was actually looking forward to this because I feel like Cudi and Travis coming together could create an amazing project. But it is what it is now. We got to deal with it. We got to see where it goes from here. I definitely have hopes for both Cudi and Travis to release amazing projects in the future. Travis is working on Utopia. Recently dropped a video, What If Utopia Never Drops? Because there are theories like that out there. So make sure to go check out that video after this one. Also, Cudi's working on some other stuff, maybe a Wizard 2. He kind of teased that in the Ask Kid Cudi stuff, so I'm excited for that. But other than that, we just gotta see what happens. But let me know your thoughts on this. Do you feel the same way I feel? Do you disagree with me? If so, where? Let me know all your thoughts on this in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.